recording. Okay, I am recording the go-to meeting for month 11. This is week 2. It is our Thursday night meeting, and in attendance are myself, Eric, Joe, Lindsay Haas, Lindsay Williams, Lori, and Abby Bradford should be here shortly. That's all we've got at the moment. So,
Sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry.
okay. And Eric just mentioned that he was preparing travel arrangements for graduation. And I said, ooh, that reminds me. So, um, yeah, who's coming to graduation? Who's got plans? Okay, Eric, we know. No, Abby's not going to make it.
Nope.
Lindsay's not going to make it. And Lindsay's not going to make it.
I don't know yet.
Okay, do you guys know what happens during graduation?
It's too early to care.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are we? I think we're later this next.
Nope, 7:15 is registration.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you're right. So maybe it's in 2 months that we're at the later one. But okay. So here's the deal. Graduation is a really great thing. It's this time to get together and celebrate the really hard year that everybody's had. But you get to celebrate it in a really positive way. You get to meet instructors, as colleagues, as opposed to as, master and student sort of thing. And you get to see people, that you've been seeing in go-to meetings, but you get to meet them personally and have lunch and dinners and things like that with them, and see the campus and, meet with career services and all that sort of thing. Um, but also, during the actual ceremony, you have. Are you guys aware of the different awards that are received?
Yeah,
There are course director awards that I don't think you guys know about them. Do you? You don't receive them. All along, people receive course director awards through each class. You don't know that you've won them until it's graduation time, and then when they call your name, then they say recipient of course director awards for, and then different classes and things like that. Um, and then there are, of course, the valedictorian and salutatorian, which I don't believe you know until graduation either, because grades are still coming in and all that. But there's also the Advanced Achiever Award, and the Advanced Achiever Award is the person who is recognized as, made the greatest strides and sort of performed the best and was the most help to other classmates and that sort of thing throughout the program. And the advanced achiever actually speaks. So traditionally, a valedictorian would speak, but the advanced achiever is the one who actually gets to stand up and speak for the class and share their thoughts and their experience and talk about what a change it's been, that sort of deal. So
Wow, that's great. I love how Full Sail does everything so differently.
yeah, yeah, it's nice. And so somebody out there is likely to be the advanced achievement winner. So you can't give a speech if you're not there. So it's nice to have everybody come to graduation. So if you're at all on the fence, I would say that I go through this sort of every month with the different groups, and the reality is, if you can find any way to make it, it really is a good experience. I mean, I know that money can be difficult sometimes and whatnot, or scheduling issues
And
come
that
up,
darn
but
thing called work gets in the way too.
yeah, but you can. It's also a graduation. It's a big thing. It's a Master of Fine Arts. So very often, and I'm not. I can't. I'm saying it's worth asking for time off sometimes, and it's also worth talking to parents, grandparents, and friends about graduation gifts possibly of helping you come down. So it's worth it as my plug.
Abby, I got somebody to cover my very last class.
Okay, so that took up a lot of time, but it's always worth talking about graduation because you guys are really close to the end now. So
Yahoo, everybody
get
do the work.
excited. There you go.
There you go.
Eric and I already did the way, right? We got everything all squared away, hotel, everything.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Well, let's dig in. There aren't quite as many posts as there should be,
Mm-mm.
but
Um,
Can
let's.
we say difficult technical issue week?
Yes, yes.
seriously,
Lori.
mine is uploading right now.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Like it's only on 35%.
Oh golly. All right. Well, we'll get to it. Hopefully.
And it's not
I,
even maybe
I
50% done. I don't know. But I do have a little surprise in there for you, so that's why I'm like anxious to get
Oh,
this.
you
You know.
do.
Yeah, I
Dun,
do.
dun, dun. Okay.
I tried uploading my stuff a different way just because I didn't know exactly how to do it from Premiere. And every time I do it, it's like literally like a minute or two. And it's like
Mm.
over 100 meg. And before, when I was doing it through iMovie and so on, it would take forever.
No, now see, I'm the opposite. Mine takes a blink through iMovie, but I'm doing it the way Eric told me to do it, and I'm sitting here looking at 38%.
Oh no.
You did it straight through YouTube.com. I do it through QuickTime.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't
I
say
did.
I
that.
do
Had you
QuickTime.
Much
said that,
easier.
see, that's what we was arguing about when you guys heard us when we first got on.
Uh-huh.
You ain't say all that. Get your
Make,
life.
Okay.
make it a QuickTime movie. It goes a lot faster.
Yes.
Yeah, you do QuickTime share and then
Excuse
YouTube.
me, let her do this over because he's getting ready to go get his life, okay?
That's exactly
Okay.
what I did. What Eric just said. I make a QuickTime movie and then you upload it that way.
Yeah.
you
Upload.
share.
Well, and I think
Well, see, I
it's a
never did
share,
it,
right?
though.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
did
it's a
that
share.
before.
Yeah,
I
you
used to do it out of iMovie all the time. All of my movies are from iMovie.
If you do it as share, you can literally grab the link while it's still uploading and paste it into
Yes,
the
you can.
discussion board and you're ready to go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Abby and
Next.
Lori get together after the go-to and share that knowledge.
Okay.
All right. So Miss Haas,
Yes.
are we ready? And by the way, I haven't seen the vast majority of these because I was in a go-to meeting for the previous 2 hours, and so there was a lot not posted in that 2 hour time period, or a lot posted in that 2 hour time period.
Oh, no movies.
So everybody, go ahead and let's watch Lindsay's work.
Hopefully the music's not too loud.
I'm gonna mute.
Working on it.
Lindsay, go ahead and talk to us about what's different.
I made it brighter, and I also added the sound through the whole thing, not just parts, because it didn't sound the same when I was getting it
Okay.
uploaded.
So a lot of it is still sort of in skeletal form, though, right? Like target audience, 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
I had
Okay.
voiceovers, but they didn't play for some reason.
You didn't have them selected when you exported, or?
I did, but they didn't show up when I hit the button. I couldn't hear it for some reason. Don't know what I did.
Okay, you've still got. Okay, yeah, this is brighter, right? Okay. You still got a lot of skeletal parts in here that
Yeah,
need to.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, that. By Sunday, we should have a good. You really shouldn't have any skeletal things left by Sunday, essentially. There's more consistency. I mean, the colors, you're sticking to sort of orange, right? And so I'm
Yeah.
seeing some consistency of color usage. You plan on masking that out maybe so that we don't see the white?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
okay. Why did you choose that particular type of motion for your text?
I don't know, it just looks good.
No, that's not a reason. Yeah.
I know.
Well, think about Trader Joe's and think about what the mission is and what the mission of your campaign is, and what would that look like in a motion graphic?
Fodder.
If it's if it's healthy food has a lot to do with growth and like should your words grow? Should they look
Oh,
like should they look like crops growing towards the sun, sort of at different levels? Um, should it be a little bit more gentle than sort of turning upside down and looking like a sort of almost roller coastery sort of thing? Should it? I don't know. I mean, you're the designer,
probably
so
not.
it's your decision. So.
Yeah, I
Um,
see what you're saying though.
and there's a circular sort of pattern that you have with your logo, and then like with all these sort of sunflowers and whatnot. So maybe should things turn, should things spin? You have this motion of this curve right here as well. Do you
Thinking
use
about
an animated
making them
text
really
path where
fast.
the words sort of move in a spiral and then you see them? So start thinking about what would be an appropriate movement for the campaign.
Okay.
Okay. Aside from that, I just say keep moving forward. Anybody have any comments? No.
Uh, on some of the borders where you have the images of, well, I guess they're more pattern based, um, like during the 18-20 second mark. Um,
Okay.
I might consider making that a little bit smaller as far as how much vertical space it takes, because it weighs it down a lot,
Oh,
in my opinion.
is it too
So
thick?
it's not necessarily too thick. It's just that, I mean, if you, it's really heavy. Because if you look at the top compared to the bottom, it feels like your eyes are just drawn straight to the bottom. So
Mm,
consider
okay.
possibly scrolling and making them a little bit smaller, and that would open up the negative space around your blocks of text, giving it a more open fill.
Mm,
Alternately,
okay.
you could
We'll try that.
bring everything up because it does look like that you abided by the rule of thirds, that those strawberries do take up the lower third.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just to nudge up like your competitors, that's where I'm at right now. If you were just to nudge that up so that there is a little bit more equilibrium,
Yeah.
that could work too.
Okay.
Would you take down the strawberries or nudge up the text?
I would nudge up the text.
The text.
So the only reason I wouldn't do that is because you have other sections that have a larger amount of text, and if you shrink down the border section,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom banner, it creates a more cohesive look all the way through because you're not varying the size, and you're be able to keep that free space. Because
Yeah,
negative
the
space
the
is
I
going to.
see what you're saying.
the strawberries are a little heavy. I mean, there's a little too much border. It is a third, but it feels like it's almost half just because of the contrast and because you have
Okay.
text in there, so it kind of pushes up against the text and it just makes it claustrophobic.
Are you
Okay.
talking more at like second 22 or at 28:30?
I'm talking more along 22, but at the same point in time,
Yeah, I
I've got to
agree with
go.
2022.
I'd have to go back and try to scan through it. There was
I
a
want
section. Go ahead, Abby.
Oh, I was just going to make a comment on when you do your opening and you open up to this great, looks like one of your boards, Trader Joe's. You've
Yeah.
got wonderful texture and you introduce that green, leafy, swirly element, and then you've
Mm-hmm.
got lots of circles. But
Right.
then you move into the next sections and everything's straight and square. So I'd like to see you
Mm.
repeat for
More
consistency some
circles.
more circles and perhaps
Mm-hmm.
that like viney, really ornate piece.
The only
Maybe
thing
that's a
is,
way
it's
to
a
tie it
brush.
together.
I don't know how to do that exactly.
Well, could you bring
That's the
in the
tricky
could you
thing.
bring in the background as just your background
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
for everything?
You could even have like a little piece of it down below
Yeah.
on your background, and then you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have to worry about how you bring it in and animate it.
Oh, okay.
Why use strawberries and then other things when you've got all the elements up here in your mood board for that matter?
Mhm.
Maybe the bottom is
My project book had fruit
yeah.
in it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, well, I mean, and you can use fruit, but um, good. The point is, you start off with the mood board, and it's setting the entire tone. And you've been doing this, but the more
yeah.
consistent you can be throughout, and refer back to all of the elements in that mood board that you open with, the better off you're going to be. The more
Okay.
consistent everything feels with that mood board, the better off.
Try not to let the tool dominate what you're doing. Try and
Exactly.
force the tool to do what you need to do. That's what
I
I've been
don't,
doing all week, and it's painful, but
honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm lucky I can't even do this.
oh, no, you're doing
Oh no,
fine. You're doing
you're doing
fine.
it.
Well, actually,
You
real
know.
quick question, Linz. I
Uh-huh.
mean, what is the main purpose of the banner images at the bottom? Are you doing it to accent the page? Are you doing
Yes,
it?
it's an
Okay.
accent. Hmm.
Then most definitely I would decrease the size because what you're
Okay.
going to end up running into when you get into, I believe it was 1 minute and 22 seconds, how you have the text running over it because it's taken up so much of the page, it's taken away your canvas where you can
Oh,
utilize it for, to better represent your process.
hmm,
So,
Yep.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like a good
Well, and I
idea.
think the idea of is something to try. If you can drop in the background of your mood board as the background for the entire piece, you'll have an
Definitely.
immediate unity,
The whole thing.
and then you just bring in elements for each thing that you want to communicate. And
Okay.
at that, yeah, you don't have to worry about. You've still got a lot of different things going on. Like the
I know I'm
orange
trying to piece
curtains
it
in the
together.
back, and then here's some circles again, and then here's some straight lines, and yeah, you have a lot of things going on, a lot of different elements going on. So the more consistent you can become with it, the better off you
Okay.
will be.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, okay,
Thank you. A lot taken.
okay. Anything you want to say, Abby, about your work?
It was a technical nightmare this week, but I'm feeling better
Hmm.
about it. This
Okay.
video doesn't reflect all of the things I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of messy, but I've replaced some of the footage with the shots that I have already purchased.
Okay.
And then I'm working on kind of moving those. And then at the beginning to that gradation, I created that. And I made some master templates. So I have a gradation template background, and then I have a white one. And then that model of care, I'm working on that,
Uh-huh.
3D rendering of that. And so I've got a list of like 20
Colors.
things I need to animate. So right now I'm working through those.
So you are going to have a good 2 weeks. All right.
Yeah. So, and these I'm hoping to enlarge and have them come in one at a time.
As animations, good. That was
Right.
going to
Yep.
be something to suggest in a moment.
And these as well, I might even have them spin and come in, and then only maybe animate one larger.
Well,
And
and
then
I like we mentioned earlier about the appropriateness of the animation. They're
mhm.
round, so I can understand the spinning, but is it appropriate to the campaign to have them spin in your mind?
Just when they're coming in, just gently, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna have it focus on one instead of all of them. And I've actually taken out a lot of things too. I think I had like 3 charts. I just took them out. I didn't think it was
Mhm.
necessary to repeat a demographic when you see the photo of the demographic.
Okay.
So,
And of course, that'll be turned into a
yeah.
video medium. Okay.
Is this on mute or is there music?
There is music. It's I've got my
Okay.
my earbud
Okay.
in,
I
so
did change out the music too.
it's slower, sort of
Mm-hmm.
more melodic
It's
and
more
acoustic piece.
instrumental. Yep. So the acoustic guitar, and then it goes into piano, I think, at the end on a different tune.
Is that how you expect it to be set, or
Hmm.
okay,
Sort of.
or okay,
I wanted the other piece of music to be with the end animation. So, and then this next one after this one is I was playing around with how the white pages will look
right?
and how all the elements will come in, and then you'll see them, and then they'll wash out, and the next one will already start.
You got a little pushing of the edge right there because of the white in the gal's outfit. It makes it look like it's left heavy.
Still, yeah,
Gals, huh?
gals.
Well, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh,
Where are you from?
Tampa.
Ah,
Yeah.
And then right here, then it will change to the next tune when it starts introducing life care at the end. They
It's
kind of they
it's
answer.
it's a little. It's a little disconcerting. You're gonna have to make that transition smooth when you get to sound design. You're gonna need
You mean
to.
softer or
Yeah, it's a little. It just we've got that wonderful guitar sound throughout the whole thing, and then we go into piano,
okay
and it.
Just well,
I'm assuming that the piano is the music that you have for the
for
animated
the
logo. Is
animation?
why you have it
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Um, you'll probably your best answer is to find melodic areas to actually match the piano and pepper the piano throughout. I mean, little
Okay.
snippets here and there that are very well sound designed. So so that you've got so that
So
they
it's
work
introducing.
together. So it's introducing the idea and whatnot, and then fade
Okay.
out of it, fade out of the guitar while you still have some of the piano going, because that transition of like here's guitar, and then boom, here's a piano is just they're both melodic, they're both beautiful, but it's too distracting.
Okay.
It doesn't show a smooth flow.
Okay.
Yeah, that that's maybe a little down the road. You don't have to worry as much about that right now, but
Okay.
it's
Um,
something to pay
but
attention
this
to.
this week was definitely a technical nightmare, and I
Hmm.
think a learning curve too with all the training.
Hmm.
But I feel a little bit more confident now that we're kind of approaching the weekend that I got, I've got all the pieces and the elements ready to animate, and that took some time too. So I think I'm ready. I've got my
That
checklist.
takes up a
Yeah,
lot of time.
It does.
yeah,
It took a lot of
Oh,
time to find them and clean them up and get them ready
exactly.
to
Oh my
import.
God, that's what's wrong with
yeah.
mine. That's why I'm so half empty here because that's what I'm doing. I'm prepping them.
What percentage are you at, Lori?
Oh, on YouTube,
Yeah.
84%.
Oh, we're getting there. Good, good, good.
Abby,
Comments for Abby?
yes. So one of the things that is posted that we should be looking for is the company introduced within the first 30 seconds?
Okay.
And life care is not introduced within the first 30 seconds. Unless you plan on doing it with voiceover
Yes.
narrative,
Yes.
you know,
That part, let's see, let me move to where I
you,
actually would
For
introduce
some
it.
reason, I can't get my YouTube to work. I can't go back after I played it for some reason.
Really?
I mean, did you not see I was having that problem on Lindsay's? I kept trying to go back, and
Oh,
At about 10 seconds when the narrative comes in, that's when I'm going to introduce the life care story.
okay, yeah, because it's still, like I said, or on, when did we last meet? When? Monday?
Monday,
Tuesday?
Monday.
Monday.
Whatever, whatever this week
Wild.
is that you start off with this like this again crisis, and I feel like there needs to be a superhero that comes in and rescues us, and I just haven't seen that, and I don't know if you're going to be able to do that through narrative or how you're
It
going to be able to do
Well,
that.
you should
it's
show the logo though early on, just like the cover of your book. Sort of being the introduction. You should show.
okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Um,
like an if-then
I
statement.
heard you. My
it,
understanding, you can show the old logo or the new logo.
I won't
What do you
show the
mean
old
your
logo.
understanding?
That's what I heard
Well,
from
what I
Troy.
talked to Don months ago, and it's like
Excuse me.
you because you can have two. Yeah, don't go there. I
I
saw
saw
that.
that. I saw
Okay.
that.
All right.
Well, wait a
No.
minute. Wait a minute. Let me finish my
No.
story before you roll your eyes to the right or to the
Okay.
left.
All
Okay.
right. Go ahead.
Um. Yeah, and I thought it was kind of weird. I was like, I want to say something, but I'm not going to say it. But I thought it was like
Don't.
either or, because he said if you introduce the old logo, you can lead up to how the new logo
Refresh.
looks. But and it makes sense, but then it doesn't. Or if you introduce the new logo, then you just show everything around how you got to that.
Well, my guess would be from knowing Don so well and having worked with him on these projects, I think that what he would have been referring to, and he would be right about this, is that when you're in the project, that to show a before and after is a very strong visual. It's a very strong way of storytelling and showing
No,
what you've done.
no, she's not wrong. I was talking about the video.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
him and I were talking about the video, is what I'm saying. So I
right.
could.
Yes, in the video, in the
Yeah.
portion of talking about the creative, the change that you're making, to show a before and after in the video, makes absolute sense and is a very good way to say this is what we started with, and or this is what they started with, and it was not working possibly for these reasons, and here are the changes we've made and implemented. So that before and after makes sense within the video, but as a cover for the campaign, you wouldn't put the old
No,
logo on the cover of the
not a
book.
cover. No, no, no,
Well,
no. I
well, the
meant
cover being the opening of a video, right?
right. Yeah.
So for
Well,
the opening of the video, you wouldn't want to show the old logo and then eventually get to the new logo because it'd be a different aesthetic. Correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Back to your question, I think at the beginning where you see the first, there were like 3 images, and first it's similar to the original video that I posted on our first post, where I give the story, the crisis, or where the industry is at, and then I
Mm-hmm.
talk about Life Care and Mayo Clinic, and then I'm going to
Nice.
show the logo with those first 3 images, and
Okay.
that's when I really introduce the story. And then about halfway through, I again repeat the logo, and then again the
Yeah.
answer at the end. So I'm trying
So
to do it in threes.
so I might make you take your own advice that you gave Lindsay.
Okay.
Focus on the
I did
substance
that.
rather than the
Oh,
software.
Yes.
If you want all these great animations, that's great. But at the same time, we really do need that,
Right.
that substance there. So I would focus more on that. Get that
That's
down.
on my next to do, is to practice
Yes.
the narrative and to narrow down the script because it's too
Yeah.
long right now.
Yeah.
So, because I tested it once and put it in, it's way too long.
Mhm.
So I need to really
Yeah.
narrow it down.
Definitely get that down because I
Yep.
mean, your images are great. They can stand alone as they are, but we need that story to be told to us.
Yep, that's crucial piece.
Yes, it is.
And Abby, did you see Jasmine's comments in the chat?
No, let's see.
Basically saying that there's a full plate and there are
Okay.
places where I get overwhelmed. And I think she's right that there's some cluttered areas in there. And
Yeah.
having seen some of the other work, I think you will be able to clean that up. So I'm not
Yeah.
as worried about it.
It's kind of
But
like as
yes, I
I'm
do think
going, I'm
about it.
taking stuff out instead of
Yeah.
adding.
Yeah.
Because after I did the
Right.
motion, I wanted to know how long it would actually take to really accomplish that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I can see some other things coming out.
It's 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you for the comments.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
That's helpful.
did somebody who just joined?
Tiffany?
Well,
No,
Tiffany
I've
was
been
here
here.
earlier.
You've been-
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
been here.
yeah.
Anyway.
Lindsay, move spots. You're over there now.
So Jasmine, is this link you want us to click this?
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this thing. It still says 84%. Wow.
A watched pot never boils.
Oh, I wasn't watching it. I just pulled it up. I don't know. Now you sound like my grandmother.
Okay. I'm full of old-timey expressions tonight, aren't I?
So am I. I almost said one, but it wasn't going to be it was going to be, a little obscenity, so I didn't want to say it. I do have some couth about me at times.
All right, Jasmine, you want to just give us a voiceover?
Well, she said she's got stuff she's working on. And the
Okay,
text
check it
isn't
out.
showing.
The
Okay.
text isn't showing for some reason.
All right. Well, okay. So there's some issues there. And she's working on it still. I know she's still moving forward, but I will say this, Jasmine, I know you're having trouble and that's that's fine. I don't want to get on to you, so to speak, about how long it's taking to get this going. But just be aware that by the end of the week, we really shouldn't have elements of the skeleton there. So call me if you need to. Keep me informed of the progress. Get with Ryan. I think you said you were going to get with Ryan about that. And keep moving forward. And we're all here to support you. So keep moving forward. And when you've got something, let us see it. Awesome.
You know what's been happening with me, Professor Argo?
What's going on?
Every time I bring a file in, like, you guys, the mood boards, we had 3 mood boards. every time I bring all three of them in, or one at a time,
Mhm.
three things, or one of those three things at a time, every single image turns to one image.
Yes.
What is going? I mean,
Wow.
hour after hour, I've been fighting with this. You heard me today, Eric,
How
right?
did that happen?
It's horrible. It keeps changing one thing to one image out of all the images.
That's why I'm meeting with Ryan tomorrow.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to meet with him
You
too.
I'll let
know,
you know.
The
you
layers.
you you know you are because Adobe was hacked. Did you all get that information?
Yeah.
What?
No.
Yeah,
Wow.
they
When?
were a while
No.
ago.
When was it hacked?
Yeah,
About
there
2 or
was.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and
Oh
there's
yeah,
been
yeah.
Oh
there's
goodness.
been difficulty there. So that doesn't. I mean, that doesn't sound like a familiar thing to me, and I'm wondering if it's just coming home to roost.
It was like, I don't know if you had the same thing, Lori, but everything was working fine like Saturday, and by
Yeah.
Sunday,
I had that
everything had
problem
built
too.
in layers.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Thank God I archived because I had to go back because
Save
it
and
corrupted
save.
the
Oh my
files.
God, that's what I did. I opened up I opened up the skeleton
Yep.
and then started all over. This is why one of the reasons,
Yeah, I
another
did
reason
too.
why I'm not done because of this problem.
One thing that did help was that I had that files archive, but another thing that I looked up and I actually found some videos on, where you have to take an extra step and actually select it, bring it in as a new file import, and then you have to create outlines. So, but it still puts it all on one layer. It doesn't like
You
keep your
can
layers.
export it as layers if you go into like scripts and run scripts,
Yes,
and then
but
bring
then
it all into this one
it gets
file.
bogged down on the script, so there's something wrong with the script.
I didn't have problems.
Well, I finally got one set to work, but my competitors, you all know, is Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Y. I brought all three of them in at once, and then when I put it on the timeline, every single one of them was the Y.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm looking in the left, looking at each separate competitor. And the same thing happened to my mood boards, and the same thing happened to the websites that I did. This is one of the things that's been holding me up.
Yeah.
It won't correct. It won't get corrected. I've saved it. I've resaved it. I've gone into the original file. I've saved it, brought it into Photoshop. I mean,
Yeah, it's bad because I think in the some of the work that we're doing at work, it's happening to us too, and we're back 2 or 3 weeks because of technical issues.
oh my goodness,
Oh,
this
I
is
was
Yeah,
terrible.
wondering
we
how this
might
is gonna.
we might end up having an issue in the class that we've never had before
Oh
with
no.
this month. So I we'll probably know more
Well,
tomorrow when we hear back from Ryan.
Yeah.
All
Have you
right.
tried to work offline too? That might help.
Mm.
Um, not no.
Try that and see if that helps.
Hmm, weird. And
Um,
you run into the problem of recreating your files.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
yeah,
that's time
that's a bunch of
consuming.
Oh
time.
yeah, definitely.
That's another problem. I was
Look at
telling
it
Eric,
look at it this way. It's really good experience.
Right? Practice.
Abby,
Okay.
that's not the kind of
Right.
experience I need or want.
That's why I have half my hair now.
Oh
No,
goodness.
see, I'm trying to grow
Uh,
mine back. No, no, no.
it used to be
Mm-mm.
poofy, now it's all gone.
Okay.
Is that from worry or you pulling on it?
Both.
Little of all of it, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Are there any comments for Raul's latest piece?
I love
Yeah.
59 seconds to a minute 4
Why?
because it reminds me of taking all those Polaroid shots and stacking them up, and they're in a shoebox,
Yeah, they're
and
cool.
they're just piling up, and then all of a sudden it's just, and I love the build up,
The beat
the
too is
music,
good.
and then the slowdown.
Hmm
It's
I like
great.
that
I
too.
love that. It
I
goes to
wish,
music.
yeah, I wish that that happened more throughout the piece because
Hmm
it is rather slow. The music, it
Yeah.
doesn't have as much energy, I don't believe, in the first part, but then like at that 57-second mark when it starts to build up, like it's very energetic.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the
I just
sound
wish that.
effects are perfect with it too.
Mm-hmm.
What about his lower third that he's using?
That's my issue.
Yeah, I
It,
don't like it.
It's cool.
the
What's
background's a
it
little busy,
doing?
but the main issue for me is it's too large,
So
and
thick.
the iconic portion of it it's cut off.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's given even more weight by the fact that it's dark, and
Yeah.
so it feels very heavy, and it feels like a fence you have to look over because none of the visuals in the back are designed to be in the space above it. They all end up beneath it, so you kind of feel like you want to look into it. And then the fact that it's got that really heavy shadow on it right there just makes it
Mm-hmm.
even more three-dimensional, and it feels like it's a separate piece that's blocking your vision. And I like the idea of having the text down here, or it's a good idea to have the text down here, and a good idea to have the branding constantly on the page. Um,
Yeah.
but does he need to have this blue bar at all? Is it even necessary?
I was kind of wondering too, the question out loud is the gray background working?
Yeah, and
The
I
zinc.
think we don't really know yet if that's his background because it's still part of his skeleton that he was using.
Okay.
So
The other thing was consistency. Like even if he decides to go with this lower third, keep the fonts the same and the positioning the same. They
yeah.
kind of move around a little bit and it changes fonts. But to
Well,
me, it's like his idea and his theme is so vibrant, and then it's got this gray, muted. And I don't know if it really works for video media. It might have worked well for your other media, but it needs to be brighter, I think, or something, or more contrast.
um, well, if you're referring to this background right here, right? All of this with I think it's a very interesting background. I think part of the campaign, it's very interesting. It's unique,
Yeah.
He just
And this
utilized it in his
and
project
cross-Polaroid.
book.
yeah, and this logo will pop well on this background. But I think the real issue, thing that makes it sort of not work, is this is so much in front. This blue lower third is so much to the front and so much more saturated that it really draws your eye and it suddenly takes focus away from everything back here. So again, my question is, what's the purpose of the lower third? Why not just have text here with the background
And the background
when
is so
necessary? Go ahead.
the background is so cool. I wish we could I wish we could see more of it. Like I almost want it to be smaller so you can
Yeah.
actually see
Mm-hmm.
the different aspects. Like the gears end up so big that half the time while it's moving you don't know what you're seeing.
Right.
Well, I mean, he could the iconic portion and shrink it down and shrink the text down as well, and lower that third lower third bar as well, and go with a solid color and possibly use a
Unmuted.
gradient. So that,
Yeah.
oh, was that better?
Go
Hello.
ahead. I'm sorry. I meant muted color wise. When
Oh,
you were referring to
yeah.
the lower third, I
I was
was
like,
saying
what?
you
No.
said solid color, and I was thinking something that would be more muted would be better in keeping with the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, and another
I'm
option
still
is,
waking up.
we've
But
got these gears right here, and if the gears themselves were just moved over to the side and they had a constant motion, really slow sort of motion of the gears moving, and then you had this textured sort of grayish and tauped background on the other side to work with,
one of my
you got a
original thoughts for
frame,
him was using those gears as a lower third to basically have a rolling animation of the gear
Mm-hmm.
rotating, and then a lower third which swipe out and then
Yeah.
come back in after it was done. That would create some extra engagement.
Mm-hmm.
It'd direct them down to read it, and then it would go away right afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, not unlike you guys saw Greyhound, right? Patricia Crockett's
Yeah.
Greyhound had that lower third that was sort of constantly in motion.
Yeah.
Right. That was cool.
Yeah, and then you
I
got
think
the sketches elements. Could be highlighted for an entire section. Maybe one is more. This sort of speaks to research, and the gears speak maybe more towards creativity. So maybe you do it by section, by when you're going to use those on that background, as opposed to using them as part of the background.
I tend to disagree with the whole gear thing. This is
Should be
Polaroid.
camera.
Yes, this is Polaroid. It's not mechanical, and it's new Polaroid, which is very digital softwares. His effect in the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
with the introduction of the 75 years, with the photos coming down and masking a movie in that, that I believe should be brought throughout more often. That should be more of a consistent element than rotating gears, because it's not a mechanical thing.
Yeah, that's
It's a
his
digital thing.
differentiation.
Yeah.
Well, I do understand that's not a mechanical thing. The
Well, it's
point
sort
of
of
it
an
is, though, is that
abstract
he
idea.
utilized it throughout his project book.
Right.
If you go through almost all of his pages, those gears are representative in multiple places. So obviously he's utilized it as part of his toolbox. So it makes sense to utilize it somewhere else as well.
But
Right.
I think instead of overemphasizing that, bring in those Polaroids in the beginning as a consistent element.
Well, and that's a very good point. It's a very valid point.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to emphasize those other elements to use them at some point if they are part of the campaign. I had a little issue with the sizing of these Polaroids at the front.
They're so tiny.
They're just tiny, and I don't. He might mean for text to be over here, and so maybe they're not the star of that. We don't know yet. So if they are just sort of accent pieces, then they're probably okay. But if they're supposed to be the star of the page, they should probably be bigger and allowed to communicate.
I think that could be a huge star right there. If you could get that, and then mix in this effect, these are two strong effects that he's using. The video.
Well, why are should these be in Polaroid shapes?
No, because they're advancing through time. So you don't have Polaroid photos now. You have like a full frame photos and so on. Digital world.
Okay. I think we've covered it for now, right? Oh, there we go.
There's a Polaroid.
In the background. There you go.
His colors could definitely be animated in that same fashion, because this is his color section right here. Yeah.
Well,
Actually, that right there could be utilized as a lower third as well.
And I gotta say, Eric, now that we see this, I would say, yeah, it would be okay to scrap gears and blueprints for these, for Polaroids and lines. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now that we see that, yeah. Okay. Raul, you are on the right track. You're doing well. Watch that lower third and enjoy. Did Kim Stacy make it? She should be home from work now, I thought. Not there?
No. Nope. I don't see her name.
I think so.
Okay.
She's probably rushing home right now.
Oh, let me check my watched pot.
What's it saying?
See, it's on 84%.
Uh-oh.
Wow, is it stuck?
I don't know.
Lori might just have to share her screen.
Lori is not going to share her screen.
Uh-oh.
Not happening.
All right.
I'm canceling the upload. Sorry.
Kim has made some changes. Who's got some comments?
I think I'm not sure if she was able to hear the go-to meeting comments from the last time.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing any revisions.
I didn't see anything in reaction to that, but I wrote down the scale again is still too large. She added her personas, and one suggestion I had was to make the male just slightly larger to match the scale of the female. And I really appreciate the playfulness of the sparkles and the gems and the lights and some of the effects that she's trying to use to repeat her differentiation. I think those are working. But I don't care for how quickly these in this section are going by. You can't really tell what they were.
Yeah.
Can't read it.
Well, and there's which is kind of a problem throughout. There's a lot of things that they're just too small and too detailed for us to see. And what is
way too much text.
Yeah, and there's too much text was from last go-to meeting as well. But what is the effect? What is of having this square piece within this round thing and it being shrunk down so that it fits? It feels awkward. I mean, I know these things are little squares and little squares pop up, but they're more like tiny glistening technological sort of effects, whereas having this square inside this circle doesn't quite work. And you almost want, you want to see this mood board as a circle, as just elements taken off the mood board and put into the circle.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, when she gets to like a minute 13, I think, and she just has the piece of the circle on the bottom, like the
Like
Yes.
lower
use
third.
that part instead.
That works
Yes.
As a
because then you're not
background.
confined to the circle space. That's
Yeah.
smart.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm looking at 127 about the typography section, which I don't necessarily get in the context, but I love the way that it looks. You know, you've got something in the background and then something on top of it, and something on top.
That's too much.
There's too much stuff.
This,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the general feel of this
I like that.
and the feel of this are just fighting. It's just two themes that aren't working together. And of course, you can't see everything that's over here.
Oh, I don't have that on mine at 128.
If
And
if she
isn't
has
that
the
guy moving in the background?
yeah, if she has like the all black background and then she also has the texture background, would there be anything wrong with her style guide section to just go to the black background? Or that even thinner version of this curved
Say it
piece?
again, Abby.
Would it be okay if because she has introduced two backgrounds. She does have the black, and then she has this circular piece.
Right.
It's either flat at the bottom or it's on both sides. But does she really need to have the circular thing there at all when she's going through her style guide section?
No,
Just
she doesn't.
curious. She could change it up.
It's okay, in terms of consistency, to let some of the elements disappear from time to time, as you've seen from all. Godfather's Pizza does not always have the bug in there, but it's there for a lot of the time. Pat Crockett doesn't always have the little gears moving at the bottom, but it keeps coming back and it's there at appropriate times. So she removes. Well, this is not a real page, but she could remove that lower third and reintroduce it at times. That is one answer. But also, looking at this, this is essentially it's a black background and it's got this white box on it and it's being cut by this rounded lower third here. So you have a lot going on. But if the background in this circular area were all white, you would just have black lettering on the white background and you would no longer have these awkward tangents of the square meeting the circle. So the more she can, and it goes back to the same thing as the mood board, if she made the inner circle all white and then she had the elements of the mood board on there and larger, then it wouldn't look as disconcerting as having these rectilinear pieces come in to the middle of the circle. So in the same, go ahead, Lori.
I'm sorry, Kim Stacy's in the class now.
Oh, Kim, we're talking about your work. Welcome. Okay, here she comes. Hi, Kim.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, we were just going over your work.
Oh, okay, cool. I guess that's good timing. I just got home from work.
Okay. Well, in the interest of time, I don't know that we want to go over too much of. I guess we'll continue forward, and then you'll be able to watch the go-to meeting.
Okay, yeah,
possibly. But we are talking about the use of the circular pattern, and then having the background be black, and then putting white things into the black circular pattern is sort of causing different tangents and design composition issues for you. So you would probably be better off by, instead of having a black background in there, for the majority of time having it be a white background, and just take these elements outside of this box and put them within the space that you've created for them, so that you would no longer have this blue square area here that's being cut off, but you would have a white page, and then all of this information would show with equal space, and the signature wouldn't be cut off and pushing the edge there. You wouldn't be cut off on the bottom, that kind of thing. And other people, other comments? Or had we pretty much gotten towards the end there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you make the revisions that we had talked about in the first go-to meeting, I think that'd be fine.
That'll help a lot. Yeah. Kim, were you able to watch the go-to archive from Monday?
Not this week. I watched last week's. This one I haven't had a chance yet.
Okay. Yeah, we went over a lot of things, like you have a lot of text, and so there needs to be a lot of editing with your text or whatever.
Okay.
So watch that one and then watch this one, and then you'll be up to speed with things to do. And I guess I don't have to mention it, but We did have some technical problems with the conversion of the video from GoToMeeting. Month 7 didn't even, they only had 4 seconds that made it on, and it took us a while to get month 11 up. So I apologize for it being sort of a 24-hour late process, but it did eventually get posted. So I guess that's just another reason to show up as much as possible, because we never know what's going to happen technically either. So
Okay. Well, I'll definitely watch this, up to this point once
excellent.
you get it archived.
Well, welcome home from work.
Thank you.
Okay. Tiffany Forsyth, do you have comments you want to make about your work while we're watching it?
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Timing is an issue. It seemed like when I played in the Premiere, it was fine. Then when I uploaded it to YouTube, it's like kind of off.
Yeah, depending on how you export it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and then I'm still working on the project overview and the history, and
Okay.
yeah.
That's still kind of a lot of text for the amount of time that is up for your SWOT analysis. You might want to
Yeah.
consider, well, and the best test of it is to actually read it.
Yeah, I was
in real
kind of
time.
sitting there like in between the time seeing if it could be read pretty much. So I'm working on reducing the text a
It
little
is too
bit.
much text to read. Consider zooming in on one section of it.
Yeah.
Or
Strengths: wide network of small box stores and convenient locations, well-trained employees, strong mobility platform. Opportunities: integrate into, boom.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, so good idea. I didn't mean to jump over you, but yeah, to sort of zoom in or do them one at a time, and then to have the bullets come up at the speed at which somebody would read them, and then the next line comes up, and then the next line
Right.
comes up. That keeps it from looking like too much information on the screen all at one time, and making the viewer feel like they have to read fast or pick what they're going to read.
Okay.
So drawing focus to what you want people to pay attention to at that particular moment is a good way to work with text on screen.
Okay.
Other comments?
Yes, Tiffany, the way that you treat images between 145 onwards, it does that. It's the textures into the imagery section, and the way that it just builds. We get to see one element, then we get to see it all build together. I really like that.
Why do you like it?
I like it because I don't know. It's appealing to me right now, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why this represents Radio Shack? Is it the progress, like showing progression? I don't
It
know.
kind of goes to the music too.
Yeah,
Actually, it was
it's
kind
the
of
the rhythm of the
coincidence.
music is the big thing that
Yes.
helps it work. Actually, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's got that nice little synthesizer in back, and you're addressing it visually.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as the assets that pretty much past this part, I'm still I haven't really decided how I want to present my assets.
You have a little bit of motion graphic right at the beginning. So are you planning on how are you planning on dealing with motion graphics throughout? I mean, you're going to have some kind of title cards and things, right?
Right. Like the target audience, it's kind of like at the very beginning. I just have the picture of the target audience, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to introduce that to, like, right there. Like, they're like, okay, what's that?
Right.
It doesn't go all the way to
So,
the edges. And that photo is noticeable too because it doesn't go all the way to the edges.
yeah,
Right.
and that's another thing because this one, what I did was, like all the animation parts I did was in After Effects, and I kind of threw like this is an iMovie. So, when you click on fit to black, that's like the black
Mm-hmm.
background. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that because I don't, as you see, like all of my background is like white,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you get to that, you see bits of black.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you're
I
on
would
it. You're
recommend.
dealing with it. I would like to mention the Radio Shack element at the front for the animated logo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I kind of question why the ADO Shack highlights without the R.
Mm.
I'd like to see
Well,
it
I
just
Shouldn't
a
the
thought
little
whole
bit
thing?
smaller.
The whole thing go.
Yeah, I mean,
together.
you don't want to separate your R from your ADO Shack. You want it to all be one thing.
Okay. That's gonna be the history part I'm still working on.
Sure.
That was just from my book.
Tiffany, instead of a bump, maybe consider just doing a gentle fade. So you have the options of having the resistors with just the R, and then you have the full logo. Consider instead of having it bump out, just have
Hmm.
it the R appear and then Radio
Straight
Shack.
across.
I was thinking about that. Actually originally how I had it. I had the R
Mm-hmm,
and then I had the Radio Shack kind of appear in.
mm-hmm. But I have it appear in left from left to right. That way
Right.
it's
Well, I
Like
think
I had.
the little bump, the little entasis is good. It's appropriate. It's nice. It sort of draws attention to it. Like well, now that the ADO Shack is there, but you want to
Do
connect
it
your
all
R
at one
with it.
time.
Yeah, you want to
Right.
connect the R with it at the same time. So it's nice that ADO Shack comes in after the R because you use the R with the resistors. But
That's where it came
yeah,
from because originally I have two like with my signature pattern I have the R with the resistors around it.
yeah,
So I kind of took it um it's kind of derived from there, which is why I had it come in like that.
okay, yeah,
Well,
which is fine. But once it's all there together, include the R with
oh, have
whatever
the R
animation.
bump in. Okay, I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
I just had one um, comment to think about.
Sure.
On your book, you had all these amazing colors in your sections,
I know.
and you chose to kind of do white here. I was just curious if you were going to shift to the colors that you have.
I was thinking about that because well, if you look in my project book, I mean like where all my text and all my elements are, the background is white with the
Mm-hmm.
exception of the divider pages.
mm-hmm.
So I thought about that. I'm like, I'm going to incorporate my color, my patterns and my color, the colors from my palette. So I'm still working on that. I don't know how I want to,
You,
but I do want to put some color in there.
the other
Definitely.
thing that you did with color that was interesting and really effective is on your cover where you had the color washes kind of going over.
Right.
I was wondering if that might work better for you so it kind of goes from color to your white pages, sort of blending it. I don't know. And you had also introduced like bars of color or strips of color
Hmm.
on some of your pages too. So like any of those you might consider, introducing some more color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's something I'm looking at
Well,
because
and
it looks
a
too white.
filter, if you had a gel sort of effect that covered everything, like any place like this where you've
Like
got
right here because it's
black
too
and
white.
white,
Right.
if you just inserted a filter as if it were a gel, and you could actually change the colors to the beat, and this whole background with a filter over it kind of feel because it's the filters have that nice translucent quality to them, and they almost have a light quality on them. So I mean, you could go from having it be gold to pink to purple and green, and you can just go through all the colors
Right. I definitely
relatively
wanted to
easily.
introduce some color right here because it's just too plain, but I was at least trying to get some animation going.
Yeah,
And I just did
and
that
I think you're
today.
doing a good thing by, you want to get everything where it needs to be before you necessarily start, trying to fix things that you don't know how it's going to work because you don't have everything together yet. So
Right.
you're you're doing fine though.
Good.
Yeah, good suggestions.
Hey Tiff,
As
Doing well.
on your solutions, so you have a lot of static images, and then you really get into some solid work with your packaging.
Mm-hmm.
There's constant movement, but there's enough time that you get to see everything. That's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. It's great. Maybe figure out a way that you can bring that into each asset because it works well with packaging. It works well with your bags. When you get into the print advertising, it gets a little bit too quick.
Right. I'm still working on, like I said, I haven't even, I've been working on the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be my
Yeah.
next
Well,
step is,
yeah,
working on the
just
solutions.
yeah, I would just study how you did the packaging and the lags, because that is very smooth, like it's constant movement, and it allows enough time, it's paced slow enough that it doesn't have to stop ever. You see everything, you get everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Does anybody have a comment about this page, about the composition here?
It's
Yeah,
busy.
I do.
Too much stuff.
What do
No,
you think,
I
Lori?
Tiffany,
Yes.
it kind of has a morbid look to it with the chopped off arms in the midair
Right.
Where should
Again,
this image be?
at the
at the
bottom.
At the
bottom.
bottom. There you
Yeah,
go.
just
Yeah.
swap it out, and then
Enough said.
Yeah. I was like, I felt like Psycho or something when I looked at that.
I wasn't even too sure if I wanted to present all of that because that again that's from my project book.
Right.
But I
I
kind of
mean,
wanted to
yeah.
just fit everything in there at least for placement.
Yeah, and so the idea is that, when you actually start recomposing that for this, just make sure that the hands are down there at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that? Do you remember that old movie Thriller? Like Boris Karloff type of thing? That's what they reminded me of. They're just the hands moving.
Uh-huh.
The Addams Family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Snap, snap.
Okay. Good stuff. Moving forward. All right. Thank you, Tiffany Forsyth. Good stuff. Good
No
stuff.
problem.
Stacy Wilson, did she do anything differently? I mean, I guess she
No.
put the music in, but the music is the Uncle Cracker.
Copyright.
Yeah.
Way too much copy. It looks like she didn't make the changes from the last go to. Just
there's
suggestions.
It does? There are some changes?
No, I didn't
No.
notice.
Yeah, I
that.
didn't see any.
The volume is
So,
really loud.
yeah.
She has a lot of elements that would work really well to animate. Like she has got some great gradation bars that could work really well for her titles.
So hop on it, Stacy. Let's see what's going on. And I hope your husband's wrist gets better very quickly. I don't mean to ignore the life things that get in our way. This is previous, right? All that is Scott's previous stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like his turtle he was working on. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And did everybody get a chance to watch that video link that he put on there? It's amazing. There's like some kinetic typography, and it's synced with music. It's really cool.
Wow.
It'll take forever to do that.
There you go.
That's
That's everybody, isn't it? Who
Yep,
posted?
Joe's posted. I've posted. Lindsay's
Posted
posted.
underneath.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still there? There's more?
We respond
It's
to
just-
ourselves instead of littering the
Yeah.
discussion board with more posts.
Good call.
Efficiency.
That's
Later.
Hint, hint.
How's the soup, Lori?
Oh, it's been done. It's been posted to the discussion board.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of blank spot.
That happens.
Lindsay, when are you supposed to hear from Ryan?
Tomorrow, I'm not actually sure. I said anytime between 10 and 5, and he's gonna like take over my computer and see what the heck is going on.
I hope he has a explanation to that, because
Well, and I'll post it on the community discussion
Please,
board if he
thank you.
has any like quick fixes.
Thank you.
We've
What's
been
it-
emailing back and forth and trying to like troubleshoot it, but none of it's working. I'm on my 4th like uninstall reinstall.
Ugh.
Oh my God. I'm not trying to do that.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Whoa,
Oh
we're
my
laughing with
God.
you.
It's a fun
Even
weekend
if it doesn't
getaway,
work
but you
after the
wouldn't want to
first
live
one.
there, right?
Wow.
And my husband is like the least helpful person when you're a stressed out individual. He's just like over my shoulder. He's like, "Why is it taking so long? Why are there so many buttons? What are you doing?"
Really?
And that's when you should say, because honey, you're not doing it.
Yeah. He's not allowed to touch my Mac. He's not a Mac user, and so
Oh, so yeah, that's a no can do. I understand. Yeah, yeah, gotcha. That's why I have my PC because people can't touch my Macs either.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
I think full sales locked up. Is anybody else in there now? It's just spinning.
I just got back
Okay.
in.
Mine's open.
Nope.
And I
Kim,
have
what are you having for dinner?
I just ate some chips. That's
Good
why I
for
muted
you.
myself. I was crunching away over here.
Good
So
for
I'm gonna,
you.
as soon as this is done, I'm gonna go get some leftover chili.
Okay, did
Yum.
did I
Yeah.
misunderstand you guys? Did you say you did post or?
We post
Yeah, it's
underneath our
under
original
our own
post.
post. Like we just
We
reply to
respond to
Oh,
ourselves.
oh, 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 oh,
That
oh.
way,
So
when you're
you're
looking for
up.
Lindsay Williams, it's all there. That way, when you're looking for
Together.
Eric Bami, it's all there.
Oh,
He
see, I
tried
get
to
I
get.
get to do that from my side already. But
Well,
that's a really great idea for you guys to be able to
yes.
do that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
But
he
write
has
that
to
down.
organize us.
When you get into these crazy discussion boards, these 2 week long discussion boards, you get 500 posts, and I'm not looking through that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Keep
although
it
we,
nice and tidy.
yeah. Joe Graham,
Everyone.
did you do that, Joe, or is this what's new, Joe? Do you have new stuff?
Yeah, I revised the narration to take up the.
Is this
Um,
it?
Let me see what you're looking at.
Yep.
Yeah,
1 hour ago?
yep. And the most of the animation aspects of it are all still skeleton, uh, in the
That
skeleton
looks good.
phase.
Everybody
So
watch Joe's.
Well, Kim, if you hungry, you starving now.
And
I know. It's like, oh, that looks good.
so
Oh,
seriously.
Your speed right there is really good, Joe. Your narration right through that 20s second area is good. Are you going to show produce?
yeah,
Okay.
I've got some
Because you
video
say
clips.
produce, but then you show burgers. So,
Well, and that was leading for the fresh, never frozen
right.
aspect.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll explain everything in a minute.
Well, you can go ahead and explain it now.
Okay. Well, all right. The quick rough of it. I don't have, like I said, this is really basic. I ended up there's a lot of layers that are disabled when I exported.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, going through it, it opens up, it identifies the brand, it identifies why they need to be rebranded, it identifies the issue with creating the brand awareness, then it goes over the development process. I've got to play around the animation in that section, and then it goes into the next section, which is going to be primarily a section of video where it shows the produce, the locally sourced grown aspect. And then it continues on to the campaign where it gives the quick overview. And instead of going through and basically listing every single asset and going into all the details of each and every asset, it gives the quick sum of the overall campaign project. And then I'm trying to do a video keying where it'll actually kind of show the devices in usage. So the first attempt was horrible, so I scrapped that. But that's what I'm going to attempt to do. So where it shows, somebody using the app, and then when they use the app, it shows the completion process where, they'll share it with like Twitter, or they'll share it with Facebook, and explain it a little bit more through the visuals on that section, and then to the ending.
Okay. So what's going to happen here?
That was the research section. It was just a filler to try to get an idea of what I want the animation to be.
Okay.
I think the narration during that was where it says multiple forms of research were conducted or something like that.
Okay.
And so, and I'm not sold on it. It was just something to identify all the different types of research that were done, because there is a lot of research that's done that is not highlighted.
Sure, yeah.
So it was just
okay.
way to
Well,
put it in there.
and I'm sure it'd be part of the animation to fix this, but
Yeah.
it's a little small. I just can't read it. Is kind of the point I wanted to make. I didn't know if it was a graphic you created and expected to stay that size, but it's just too small. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's all of the animations have to be redone. So, and I just put in a few of the assets to kind of give an idea of what would be shown video-wise during those sections. Because like I said, this is all pretty much all skeleton based, but it'll all be revised to either be full screen video, or it'll be done on a green screen so that it'll have the tan background.
All right.
Quick little thing.
Go ahead.
The jazzy music is great. I love it. But be very careful about your bassy voice with the high notes of those trumpets, because it's a very sharp contrast. And every time I hear the trumpets, I'm like, I stop listening to you and I pay more attention to the jazz. Jazz has a very dominant presence because of those high-pitched sounds.
Yeah, originally I had the decibel level, I think at a -12, but then it was so low that, I mean, it was really just ambient, background noise at that, and you could barely hear it. And then so I moved it up to, I believe, around -6, and so I can play with it a little bit more and get it down.
Well, is there anything you can get that's less swing-like?
Oh no, that's good music.
It's good music. It's great music, but it's those high notes.
Well, part of that is also because I went through and I re-modified the audio. That song track is actually only 2 minutes, and I think 24 seconds or something like that. So I stretched the audio and manipulated it, and then I turned around and went through and put a vintage type radio feel to it, because the normal one plays it like, regular 5.1 stereo. So I went through and modified the sound to give it that more vintage feel when it plays. And when I did that, it kind of gets that real high pitch that you're talking about. And so it's kind of hard to modify. I don't know. I'm still playing with the audio, but I mean, it was at a satisfactory level for me to stop messing with it after so many hours.
I think it's a volume issue. I think Eric's tapped into something that's a real nuance, but it's necessary. I mean, I think it's just a volume issue. I think whenever your voice and then those horns are going, you just need to bring the horns down. But that's that's sound design. That's going in and actually designing each particular piece. So that's that's next week, I guess.
Right. The sound does go well with the campaign.
Yeah.
All right, good, because that was a big worry. I literally spent, I think, all of Tuesday just looking at audio and then arguing with myself. So I'm happy that people like it.
And this is the new one, Lindsay?
It is. There's not like I've been having as many problems as
Right.
I guess I must have. So there's not that much
So
more to it.
don't watch it or what?
You can if you want to. I've included some like unifying theme
Oh yeah,
elements.
well that we show us those. Those are good to see.
So basically, the brick wall, because there's a lot of graffiti that will happen that hasn't happened, will
Okay.
and that blue
Oh,
consistency will be like the base of all the information.
Nice. Nice
And that's
complementary color work.
as far as I've gotten, in all honesty. So we
Okay.
don't watch the rest. Everything else is the skeleton.
Okay.
I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm animating because technically I have three logos. Like there's figures that go with the logo, so I'm animating those so they'll be like transition pieces. They'll like push the logo or like jump and like hit information and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just legs are really hard to make move naturally.
Yeah, they
So
are.
that's where I'm at with it. So I have one almost done, and it's like my pushing one, so at least like you can push stuff. I don't know how my jumper is working, and my push-up person looks very strange. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. I have a lot of work to do, and
Okay. Well, you're on top of it though. I don't have any worries.
Hey, Lindsay, just a quick note. If when you're doing leg animations, I found it easier to find a beat or a music track that has what you're looking for as far as what you would consider a walking beat
mm-hmm.
and animate to that.
Mm-hmm.
I found that that's a lot easier than trying to actually go in there and guess what 0.5 seconds the leg swings, 25 degrees, and then it's like, wait, nope, that was too fast. So
Yeah,
just thought
yeah,
I might give you that as an idea.
mm-hmm. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to do Baumier?
Oh, this guy, yeah, we can do this.
Tell us what's going on, Eric.
all right. So, still really trying to figure out how much time each section is going to have. I really, try to take into consideration feedback from last week about the consistent uh, spreading. So I looked through my project book again, and I figured out that my divider sections actually lend themselves pretty well to dividers, sections in video.
Yes.
So I was able to bring in my color, I was able to bring in pattern. So all that's pretty much in place. Now it's just like what goes in between those. I like the way that the solution section turned out. I still want to animate the background mountains so that they pause, continue, pause, continue.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much, but enough.
Okay.
Yeah, bump, 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 bump.
So what do we have going on here?
A light text on a background. It doesn't show.
There you go. And it's a little claustrophobic. It's pushing the logo in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I almost think at that point, if you want to like get rid of the North Country College and like explore your potential, since it's like one of your like bring that as like a title theme or something.
yeah, and it brings attention to the idea of exploring, which is sort of what this background is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Nice suggestion, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Lindsay is in the lead. There we go. All right.
Eric, I think in our last conversation too, we suggested that the smaller inset photos that float above the landscape, that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you consider like making those full and bringing them down. What did you think about that? Because I see they're still here, so
Like the images of the students at the last
yeah,
section.
that are kind of up in the sky section.
Right. So they're not sliding in anymore. They're just kind of there. And I'm still trying to figure out, because that's a lot of retail space that I have to work with, and I don't necessarily know that in these in-between sections I want to get rid of the mountains because I like the progression. It's just figuring out the position and what actually needs to go there. I mean, if you think about it, these are kind of fillers. They're like, okay, look, put something in there because I still need to figure out how long each section is, what actually is going to go into each section, type thing.
Okay, so you're still working on that.
Right. So.
Okay. So I'm not going to worry about this asymmetry
Yeah,
thing over here.
Yeah, that guy would definitely go up.
Like, actually, I have a quick question about the overall. What was the reason that you decided to do slides? You know, where you have more of the sliding motions. What was the reasoning on that?
The opening up. So, the analogy of opening the doors and having nature in your backyard at all times.
Okay.
So that kind of like, open a window, open a door, anything. Like at any of the three colleges, you go outside and it's bam, you're right there.
Okay.
Taking advantage of the dynamic medium.
Yeah, well, that was my only question because when I first saw your project book and I was looking at all the different seasonal type imagery that you had used, I thought fades or cross dissolves would be something that you would be utilizing to kind of represent that change,
right.
And that's why I was just wondering.
Well, there is one possibility. If I can find 4 panoramas taken from a similar vantage point, I would bring them into Photoshop and mask them one into the other.
Going around.
And then have it go through, start at spring.
I like it.
But I have to find 4 panoramas taken from the same vantage point.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a clear sky.
You might not necessarily need the exact same vantage point.
No, I could definitely mess with perspective. I know.
But yeah.
But there comes a point, especially when you're dealing with panorama images on top of a mountain.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah.
But why couldn't it be a forest, and then you've got the mountains, and then maybe you have water?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be from the same spot.
Right. But I like the open sky. The open sky gives a good canvas rather than placing things on top of a forest.
It's nice and clean. You're right, Eric.
Yeah.
I mean, it's working good. I don't know. The idea is wonderful. The changing seasons. But as the designer, you'll have to determine whether it's worth the hassle to make it work right, or if you're going to be forcing the seasons in there.
Right.
And it's just going to be more distracting than it needs to be for the good of the campaign.
Right. And I mean, I kind of do cycle through the season with the divider pages. Yeah. Each of the divider pages represent a season. So they start with spring, they go to, summer, fall, winter.
And your assets reflected again, too.
Yeah.
Good ending.
Thank you. And see, that's why I need that clear sky.
You are, you are on the right track. Absolutely. I mean, I think everything you've mentioned is appropriate to the campaign. Everything you've done so far is doing good.
I just got to figure out what to do in between the sections.
You're doing it.
Is this new?
I'll answer your question if you answer mine, Eric.
What's that?
What to do when your images won't cooperate in none of the programs?
I flatten them.
Pound them.
I hate it. It's holding up progress.
That's what I do. If I have issues in importing an image or something, I flatten it. I increase its size, flatten it, and then import it in. Generally don't have any issues after that. As a generalized question, how many people are using the safety guides?
I am. Are you?
I keep some of my important information in it, but no, because no.
Because I noticed, watching a lot of the different videos, there's sections that pop up that are just constantly running into like how, an example, the top bar of YouTube pops down with the title. If you use the safe guidelines that are in the program, you'll almost never have that issue of content being covered up by it.
Well, I don't watch YouTube videos with my mouse over the YouTube screen.
I'm just saying, when you click on it.
Now, boy. Now.
I think we're more worried about getting it done and then worried about safety later.
Okay, Joe, get your life, Joe. We trying to get our work done. Forget about it.
And if you full screen out, all is well. All is well in the world.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, it looks like Melissa's really been working on animation.
Yeah, she has.
And I think it's all working pretty well for her, except the original issue of timing is still kind of an issue. Arrow Postal delivering achievements is too fast. All of this is kind of neat how it builds up. We see tons of words and it starts to come at us and then it cuts off before we have a chance to fully realize all those words coming at us.
But this happened in Dynamic Mood Board.
Dynamic Mood Board, yeah.
You know,
She's working in Flash.
Yeah, her timing is in like little tiny chunks, and then all of a sudden she spreads it all out, and it's like, huh.
Okay.
Good thing it's a bird then, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if she's waiting until the very end to just like knock her socks off, or.
Well, how was her Dynamic Mood Board? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Well, throughout the 2-week process, it was all, you know, the entire video was like
the
10 to
final
15. 10. It turned out decent.
Little bits as she goes.
Yeah.
There you go. She's probably going to do pretty good at the end.
Yeah.
Well, she'll need to start making the fixes so that we can get a sense that we know she's going to be able to do it. I can't tell you the number of times that, you know, oh, I'll get to that, oh, I'll fix that, and then you get to the end and there's just no time, and it's problematic. So
I was like going to make a comment that she still has too much text in there to read, though. I mean, there was like
yes.
huge paragraphs.
And which is
timing
even if it is timing, it's still a lot to read regardless. You're right. So
like, take about 3/4 of that out.
Yeah.
Well, she could simplify some of the animations to allow for more timing.
The birds for the color palette could probably be smoother. There's something very
rigid.
Yeah, and jolty about them. I mean, they don't feel like birds coming in. They
like rocks.
And will my computer play?
Paper mache birds.
They're just sort of big, and then they sort of zoom slowly, and then the other one comes in, and then they very quickly take off. Then another one comes in. There's something not very flowy and bird-like about it. Whereas the music is really wonderful. So if they sort of worked with the music and that pattern somehow.
Maybe because the wings are not moving.
It's 10 o'clock.
There's that too.
No, you know, really. I mean, if the wings actually move, then that would give it some, you know, I don't know. All right, I'm stopping. I'm not going to defend her anymore.
Killed Full Sail.
I think you did a lot of work on that, though. That's a big, big progress.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's Oriali's from, what's today? 7th? So that was Monday?
It's from Monday.
Is anyone else having trouble with FSO?
With what?
With what?
Yeah, FSO's been having issues.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you just said.
Full Sail Online, FSO.
Oh.
There's Lori Goings.
I don't call it that.
Connect, FSO.
Call it Connect.
There's a lot of black in there. Because I started all over. I took everything out of the skeleton to place things, I didn't know I was going to have problems uploading putting the images in there. You know? So I want, Lindsay, I'm hoping Ryan tells you something.
I hope so too.
Oh, God.
I've been having problems because, like, I made it work so I could import it into After Effects, but when I import After Effects into Premiere, it just shows up as, like, weird black boxes.
Right.
Hey, Lori.
I did get clearer images of the competitors, if you can see.
Hey, Lori.
Huh?
I finally installed Premiere. I had a question. When you do your recording in it, are you doing it in stereo, mono, or 5.1?
I don't normally do my recording in Premiere. I was telling you that on the Hangout meeting the other day.
Yeah, you said that you had did it mainly in iMovie and then you did import it in, but when you imported it in, it got that deep sound that
Yeah, so I
increased the
stopped
bass.
importing it. I stopped importing it into Premiere because of that.
Okay. You just recording it in Premiere now?
No, I did in iMovie. Did you find out how to get rid of that deep voice? Did you find
Well,
that out?
the only way to modify it, if
Hmm.
well, the easiest way to do it at least without going through your settings is to
Hmm.
go to the once you import your soundtrack, you go down to the effects EQ for audio and drop that over and then modify the EQ settings to the setting that you would prefer. That would be the
Yeah,
easiest way to do it. But then you get to do some sound engineering.
that's cool. So okay, so you EQ audio.
And you just take that and drag it over and drop it on top of your audio layer that you've imported, and then it should open up a panel, and then you adjust your EQ settings based on what you to the desired level.
Okay, thank you. Why did you install it? I know you use Final Cut.
In 2 months, I have to work on a project, and they're using Premiere Profiles. So
Oh, okay.
I figured, need to answer somebody's question to be helpful, and I'm gonna have to install it anyways, so
Okay,
might as well.
good. Yeah, baby. Very good. Thank you. And I'm going to try this and see because I'm working on 4 programs right now and it's crazy.
Is it black all the way? Oh, no. Shut the front door!
Oh, cute.
That's
No
awesome.
way!
I like that. What a great exit.
Good for you.
Do it again! Do it
Do
again!
it again. I want to see the vanity.
Baldowski and I told Baldowski, don't tell you.
Well, he didn't.
Very good.
Well, that's a surprise.
I
And you
haven't
remember
actually. I haven't seen him today. Was it today?
No, it was yesterday because
No.
when we left the meeting Monday, I was like, you know what? We made a joke about it, but I'm gonna put it to the test. I'm gonna try it. I started to cut the wheels out and make them turn and everything. But then I
Wow.
wanted to
Does
have
it,
that done.
For
Lori, does it leave flowers behind too?
ooh,
Should we try out?
nice.
Abby,
Oh, good idea.
just wait.
You know, you need to use that bus back and forth and have it reveal words and headers and section names and
Oh, that'd be very clever.
Oh my.
oh yeah, and then at the end you say hop on the bus, Girls Inc. There you
Get
go.
on the bus.
Don't need to be coy, Roy. Hop on the bus,
Well,
Gus.
for somebody who hates video, you just learn to love it, I think,
You just
because
drove over.
that's
No.
fantastic.
Right.
No, I don't love it. Don't get it twisted. I don't love it. I just
Well,
know
you
I have to produce a good project. That's all. And I'm going to.
I don't okay, well, cha-ching. That's all I gotta say.
And I just thought I would just give you a little laughter, a little laughter at the end by putting the bus on there. So, because we made a little comment the last time that wouldn't it be nice if I had the
Oh
bus?
yeah, when you talked about the butt.
Remember?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
So you can't be too disappointed for all my black, which is really not my fault because of the program.
Well,
So,
no, right. No. And then your color fades on your bars on the side working well. It's nice and it doesn't feel like a
but
dissolve. They're working well.
I'm working on the Argyle
Yeah.
vining up.
You are impressive then, because I was really thinking you were just not going to be having any of it, and you're doing some good work. So
Yeah, I know you
good
were.
finds.
Thank you.
Good finds.
I think I want the bus to say something. Somebody in the bus though, or something. By the way, did you hear the bus noise, the bus sound driving
Yeah,
by?
yeah.
Okay.
Sound effects make all the difference in the world. You remember, go back to
Exactly.
that University of California redesign. I mean, there was
Yes.
no narration, and there were just these little moments of sound effects that added a little
You
bit of
know,
comedy, punctuated things.
Yeah.
I love that video, but there's just something about somebody slurping coffee like that that just makes it
Yeah,
ruins the entire thing. It ruins it. As soon as I get to that, I'm like, I have to turn it off. I can't listen to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Ugh.
it's
Pet peeve.
Yep,
Eric.
Mm-mm.
slurping.
People that
Oh,
eat too
Eric.
loudly, slurp too
I,
loudly.
I
We're
showed
not
I,
eating
sh-
together.
I showed that to the designers in my team, and somebody said they also show feet too, and it really bothered them
Mm-hmm.
too.
yeah, they show feet.
Yeah, they did.
She kind of rocks back on her heels.
Yeah.
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 Oh well, can't please everybody.
No. I'm like, she's
Um,
in the sand in California. That's all it takes.
Yeah,
Professor Argo,
yeah.
uh, if we're done, would you mind going back over that? I barely heard you say something about graduation.
Um, come to it. What do you want to know about it, or what? I don't know what you heard something, but what?
Okay, so you got jokes now. Okay.
Just like dwelling.
Well,
I
no, I
meant,
don't know what to say
Said
about it.
I heard you say something about campus or something, and I
Oh,
didn't.
well, I was saying that graduation is a good thing to come to. Like some people are often on the fence of, will it be worth it? Should I bother? And it's it's a good. It's I mean everybody who comes, will enjoy it. It's a nice
Yeah.
celebratory, opportunity to meet faculty and your fellow students. You've only seen them in these little tiny squares, if at all,
Right.
and uh, and then you also get to see the campus, and you can do the campus tour as well as meet with other departments like career development. If you're going to obviously have a relationship with those people and they're going to help you get a job, it's really nice to be in person and shake their hand and get that personal connection so that they know you and know what companies to send your information to and to recommend to you and that sort of thing. So, um, and then there are different awards that are given out that you don't
Okay, I
typically
heard
know
that.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so that yeah, graduation is a good thing to come to, and it's really, online. A lot of people don't necessarily come from online, and sometimes I don't think we've ever had a graduation where nobody showed, but we've had plenty of graduations where we've had one person, and then it ends up being just a big celebration for that one person. But
Really?
Interesting.
it's really
Wow.
it's really better. The more people that show, the better. Obviously, I mean,
Okay,
it's a
how many
more
of us are
camaraderie.
coming? Is everybody here coming?
Well, I mean,
No.
Eric was the only one. That's why I mentioned Eric was the only one who was excited about it. I think.
Lori and I got the
I'll be
same
here. I live right here. I'm in Altamont Springs.
Wait a minute.
Uh huh.
Wait, yeah, because I know me, Tiffany, Jasmine, and Eric are coming. Lindsay Haas, are you coming?
I can't. I live in Baton Rouge.
Abby,
No.
are you
14
coming?
hours away.
No,
Yeah.
that's the
I'll
holidays.
be.
I can't leave. I work for a hospital. I can't
I
leave.
know.
That's mandatory.
And
Abby,
Lindsay
are you in
Williams also
Jacksonville?
coming.
No, I'm in Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Lindsay
I-
Williams, are you coming?
California.
I don't know. That is like 2 days. It just depends if my husband can get leave or not. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I'm in
Oh.
California, so I was going
Oh,
to
Oh.
try because I have a
jeez.
brother that lives in Orlando, but I
Uh
don't
huh.
think I'm going to be able to do it.
Oh,
That's a really good
Kim,
idea.
No way.
you have
Joe,
a brother
Joe,
in
are you coming?
Orlando. Come
Yes,
on.
yes.
And as
Joe,
for
are you
you, Miss
coming?
Haas, it is still in the Gulf Coast region, so you can drive on over. Come on.
I don't have any money to go
Oh,
anywhere.
I'm
That far.
sorry.
That's the problem.
I
Yes.
will, however, visit Orlando and take
Sucks.
my
Yeah.
son to somewhere else with Disney in it.
Disney.
Maybe
Okay.
Universal Studio for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess the other side to it is that yes, for anybody, if you can't come for graduation, then whenever you are in town, stop by and say hello. Do that.
Ish.
I
Can
mean,
you walk through your graduation later?
You can do it early. In fact, Scott, who's in your class now, was with another group, and they were a very tight knit group. And he was offered the opportunity to graduate early because he was
Wow.
close enough, and there was no reason to believe he wouldn't graduate. So
Hmm.
he was offered that opportunity. So I
He
think
was
you can, because we had a gal from Hawaii who wasn't able to make it, but she was going to be coming. In fact, I think she's going to be coming in January and thinking about doing the walk in January. So, yeah, I mean,
I'm more than
I'm not the answer on that. Look into it, and then you let me know. How's that sound?
Sure.
But yeah,
And
I'm pretty sure you
and if
can.
anyone wants to walk, quote unquote walk, you can be
Virtual?
at home. You can be at home, and I'll bring my laptop up for you, and
Let's
you
do that.
can.
Yeah, cool. Let's do that.
Aren't
I'll be
they
virtual.
aren't they online now? I mean, don't they sort of do a live feed of graduations?
I don't know,
Have
I
they?
think so.
Never done that
Good
before.
question.
I
but
mean,
that way at
I know
least
they tape them. They always have these camera. They have the robot cam with the big jib on it, and it sort of zooms
But
around and all that.
that way
You can
they can at
hold,
least have a face. I'll just put
yeah, you can
the
hold up
laptop
an
in front.
iPad
Face.
or a
Yeah,
laptop.
that's interesting. I don't know if yeah.
Virtual heads. We always do that for conferences. We send an
Virtual
iPad for each person on the
Yeah.
team, and then it's
Yeah.
just live feed. And then if anyone
Yeah.
has questions, they can talk to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they don't read everybody's name. If you're there, then okay. I mean, but we know we've all marched up on stage, and then we'll have somebody come up and they take the picture, and then we shake hands, and it's like, okay, everybody go, and they're onto the next degree. So
It was like the
That's
last
not going to happen. They're just
no,
going to have to
it's
wait.
it's nice to have more people. So yeah, Tiffany's down the street, and she came by and said hello once. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yes,
So she'll be at graduation. Yeah. So
Yes.
definitely.
awesome.
I know Jasmine will be. She lives in Sarasota. I live in Pinellas Park, so it's like
You're gonna
Jasmine.
carpool?
you could carpool.
No, it's not a no.
No.
Not with all the
Okay.
fam in the car too.
The only way I can
Just
carpool with Tiffany is when I get to the hotel because I want to spend the night. I don't want to drive an
Uh-huh.
hour and 45 minutes back here.
Yeah.
Especially at seven, or to be there at
Tiffany can
7:15 in the
actually
morning.
meet us at the spa hotel that we're going to be at.
Yes.
Oh, where are you staying at?
Yes.
EON down in Lake Eola downtown.
No, that was a little bit too boutiquey.
Oh.
We're staying at the Westgate. Big
Oh.
old,
Okay.
timeshare.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So you have like an apartment
Yeah.
Mhm.
room. That'll be fun.
Nice.
I didn't know they had a spa there though, or was she being
Yes.
facetious?
Serenity.
They do.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get down and indulge in everything. Okay.
Yeah.
And I decide, and my husband's coming with me because we're separated, but I was gonna let him come, but he's coming now, so
Okay. Well.
he's
Okay.
fine.
You're
That way he gets
generous.
to pay for everything.
All right. Will he pay for Miss Haas to come too? No.
I'm,
Can't
you
believe they have
making
2
a
dogs at
joke
home.
about it, but my husband has like the biggest heart that I want to just
Oh,
smack him sometimes.
Lin-
Like,
Lindsay,
he
you and I will
doesn't
be
know-
virtual.
Yeah,
He doesn't
I got
know
a
when to
dog
say
that
no.
isn't even
That's his
potty trained
problem.
yet, so I can't really leave.
You and
Okay.
I can be
Like
virtual.
a baby.
Well, there's still a chance that I might be like that because of my uncle. So I never
Oh
know.
yeah, that's right.
I'm just booking I just booked everything just.
Guaranteed cancellation?
Huh?
Do you have a guaranteed cancellation
Sure
just in case?
do. I had to see. My husband did it first, and I told him that you first got me at the wrong hotel. She don't roll like that. She wants the best, so take it off, cancel it, and this is where I want the reservation. Right, Eric? I'm serious. Literally, that's how it went. I'm like, this is what I want. That's what you want. Since it's my day, this is what I want. Okay? So he changed all of that, and I made sure that I can get my money back in case my uncle dies. So.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's just the way it is.
Well, okay, gang. Good work. Keep moving forward, of course. If anybody is watching this video archive and was not at the go-to meeting, then please remember that you need to comment through the discussion board on 2 people in depth, as much depth as possible,
Really?
to show your participation. Yes.
Stop the madness and call the ambulance. I didn't know you had to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you don't
Well,
I'm coming
I'll
to
make
every
another
meeting.
post.
I'm not trying to
Exactly,
respond. And
right?
I'm coming to every meeting because I'm not doing this as a more vote.
You're
I
coming
will.
anyway. I knew you would. All right.
I'm there.
All right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Professor
gang.
Argo.
You take care.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for the
Bye.
feedback, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.